What do you see, Alice?
What are some things that you may have learned on previous films that you were able to apply in the movie Other?
I think that the previous movie I did, it was called Mass, is a one-shot movie. The fact that you just have one shot to tell a story avoid you from doing a lot of things, but helps you to make others. I find a way to tell the story I wanted to make. When you have too much possibilities, sometimes you're losing yourself, you know. And so I thought it was great. I mean, like at the beginning, I thought, oh, it's going to be so tough and so difficult. It was for many reasons. But the main difficulty for me as a director is to find the right way to tell a story. It's never going to be the perfect one, but the right way for the movie, you know. And when you cannot do things, finally you need to find ideas to get, you know, through this line with other by having this character lost in a world for the reason we will understand at the end of the movie. But the fact that she's the only character we actually see the face was for me in a way the difficulty I needed to tell this story. I don't know if I was clear,
No, I
you
think you
know.
were very clear. I think if I understood something you learned on Mads was that sometimes the constraints, the limits you put on yourself can help the process and help spur you to make creative decisions. And so to put yourself in a place where you have to make those hard decisions in the service of the story, that can bring out something magical. And I think it definitely did in the film Other.
Thank you so much, Alexander. Yes, exactly. You put a very sharp way what I was trying to tell you.
Well, since you brought it up, something that was really fascinating that clicked with me early on, we don't get to see anybody's face other than the principal character, for the vast majority of the film. In the notes, it
Yeah,
kind of came to you in
yeah.
pre-production. And what was that moment like where you kind of had that idea? And was it like a wow moment or like a almost an excited scary moment?
It was actually, I think it was partially here in the writing, the way I wrote the story, even if it was not like a rule. And once I knew that we were going to make the movie and we were starting prepping and all that, I reread the script and I think I want to do it this way. And it was everything. It was after that was clear, crystal clear, you know, because as I told you, I needed to find this idea of avoiding myself to do too many things, you know. Since my first feature film, Ill, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called Them, and it was a movie where you actually never see what's behind the door, you know. We're following a couple and there is some we don't know trying to come in the house, you know. I think it was when I saw Panic Room, I thought it was so great that we actually will stay in this panic room with this mother and a child. We just seeing like the video of the one who trying to get in, like in reality when you actually don't see more as an audience than the character will typically in those kind of movies when you want as much as possible to put the audience in the mind of the character, you know. When you jump from inside a room to outside showing what the character doesn't see, which is the definition of suspense for Alfred Hitchcock, which is something amazing in his movies. You know, I always find myself more connected to the genre movies where actually I don't see too much, you know, and where I can give the audience the possibility to use their own imagination, you know.
It was fascinating from a technical standpoint, and I think really effective from a storytelling perspective.
I think it's Steven Spielberg who say that movie making is audio visual, you know. And with audiovisual, you have audio in first, which is something for me very important. I always find a way to give the sound as much space as possible. And when you actually don't see things but hear them, it's very effective and it's giving that much of a thing, something very abstract and very clear to the audience that actually is going to make their own monster in their mind, you know?
Speaking of the audio portion of it, the sound design in Other was really cool and really effective. And I wondered what was that process like, because there were a lot of sounds that I couldn't identify that, like you said, my imagination started going. It sounded there was my mind kept going to bone crunching, like something gnawing on bones. So what was that process like, finding those audio cues to try and get your audience engaged?
Louis, the sound designer, stepped in the movie. I could not see him for 2 or 3 days when he started, and then we finally got together. And he started to put like a lot of sound and said, "No, Louis, I think we have to go very simple. I want the movie to be almost silent. I mean, I want precise sound in the silence." Re-recording engineer, we say it in English.
Recording engineer.
Yeah, we Marco. I went in his studio and I sung him some sounds and he said, "Oh shit, I have to find that." So he spent like nights trying to find the perfect sound. And he's a very talented guy. And he told me that it was a very important movie for him because he spent so many times to have a clear and also abstract sound, you know. I think I want it to be clear, but something we haven't really heard before, you know. He played it with all of his tricks, you know. He went to record strange sound in the forest and stuff like that. It's one of my favorite parts of in making a movie is to work with the sound, especially in this genre, you know. It's like it can be so interesting and gives such a strain to a simple visual when you actually hear something that you don't see. The first movie I saw when I was my kid's age, probably nine-ish, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. My parents avoid me from seeing the movie, you know. So of course I found a way to see it. I was outside the room and I was trying to see the movie through the peephole, and it was very difficult. So I hear the movie only, and it was and so this I was like so frightened, but I was frightened only by the sound, you know. So probably as a moviegoer, my first horror movie was seen only with my ears.
Wow, that's great. Even back then you were clever. Well, and that cleverness shows through in this movie Other. It's really entertaining.